very superstitious.
Blood is on the walls.
Welcome to the 8th episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and this week I'm joined by Lisa once again. Welcome.
I may have eaten roasted garlic earlier. Was that rude?
A little bit. And back from Transylvania, we have our other co-host, Nate.
My name is Lisa. I am from the village of Lupu. I want to be a doctor.
Oh my God. Well, Nate, so nice to see that Dracula has let you out of his castle to come back and join us this week.
Yeah, the audience can't see. My hair is totally white right now.
Of course.
But
you've aged considerably.
I've aged considerably, but other than that, feel great.
Yeah. And, well, the great thing is, too, here at the studio, we no longer have bugs because you've been eating all of them, which is, pleasant side effect and perk of, I think, the... I don't know if is it really an abduction? Just more of an extended stay.
Seduction.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I can confidently say I got no straight razor shaves while I was in here. But my nipples do hurt. So I don't know how you want to take that.
As you would expect, they will. Oh goodness. Well, great to have y'all back. For everyone else, each week, as you know, on Texas Podcast Massacre, we take a look at a different horror movie, we discuss some news, and we have a good old-fashioned debate with our unsuspecting victims. This week, however, we don't have any unsuspecting
They're
victims.
so unsuspecting, they're not even here.
That is right. We're just going to run solo with the Dream Team this week because we were going to review Netflix's adaptation of Castlevania, and being that it's a TV show, those are a little harder to get. We can usually keep our unsuspecting victims kind of trapped here in the viewing room for a couple hours, but they felt like that was maybe too big of a time commitment for this one.
Or they saw the show and just decided to leave. I mean, we're not magicians or anything like that.
Either one. It's hard to tell. So that said, I think why don't we just get straight into the news.
First eyewitness account came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent.
So this week, unfortunately, we're starting off with, really probably the only news item today. George A. Romero passed away on Sunday night. He died at 77 due to, a long battle with lung cancer. For me personally, granted, obviously I don't know him personally or anything, but I've been a fan of his. He's been one of my favorite horror movie directors ever since I've started watching horror movies. Night of the Living Dead was such an important film for me. I'm certainly very sad, as I'm sure all of his fans are. So obviously deepest condolences to his family. I know I think I was reading on New York Times, he survived by a wife and 3 children. So his legacy will live on. His movies will be with us forever, and that's sort of the bright spot of it. I guess for this news segment, I thought maybe we just talk about maybe some of your favorite George A. Romero movies or spots or anything.
Well, my question is, didn't you mention he was going to come out with that new zombie driving movie?
Yes, that was The Road of the Dead.
Road of the Dead. Yeah, I haven't seen anything about what's going to happen to that.
I hope that was far enough along where they could pull that, because that would be kind of a cool.
Yeah,
that would be.
Yeah.
I hope so too. Yeah, I'll have to look afterward. Maybe we'll put some in the episode notes about it if we find anything. At least I don't know. I think we've made you watch Night of the Living Dead once in the past.
Yeah, I have. I'm pretty sure I've watched a few of the others, because was one of the dead ones where they're on the island with the horse, or am I thinking of a different movie?
Island with the horse.
On the island.
It's with zombies, but there's like a girl and she's a zombie and she keeps riding a horse around an island. Maybe it's not one of his.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up.
What is this?
I can't believe I spoke to you guys.
Well, no, it sounds familiar, but I don't think it's his. But
maybe not.
Maybe not.
I'll have to look it up.
No, but I mean,
and our news segment is very fitting today, because the drop is always the news story from Night of the Living Dead. I think probably my favorite quote of any horror movie, and probably the quote that I use to get my wife the most upset whenever we're starting to watch a horror movie is, "They're coming to get you, Barbara." Always. If Romero had just done that quote in a movie, I think he could have gone out and done just fine. But then obviously with the Dawn of the Dead and what was the next one? Jesus. Oh my God.
Well, there's Land of the Dead.
Oh yeah, Land of the Dead. Yeah.
So Land of the Dead was, I guess, his biggest, like, he had the biggest studio backing, because Night of the Living Dead was only done on a $100,000 budget.
Yeah,
It
that was like
nothing.
Yeah, that was like nothing.
Like chocolate syrup for blood, basically.
Well, it was black and white, so you could probably get away from that,
Right.
which is kind of awesome.
Well, and what I really liked about his movies too, they were the quintessential low budget horror flick, but I don't know if he intended to do it this way, but most of his films, really had a whole lot of political commentary and social commentary. You had, racism was a big topic in Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. It was our consumerism.
Yeah.
Why it takes place so much time in the mall.
Yeah.
So the one that I was thinking of is Survival of the Dead. Came out in 2009.
Oh, I think
wow.
he's a producer of it. I don't think
okay.
Did he direct it, or I know he's a producer.
It says on Wikipedia it was written and directed by him.
Okay. Oh,
So-
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Wow, Lisa.
So that one sticks out in my
Lisa.
memory. I think that was a good.
Thank you.
Golf
Thank
clap.
you.
Golf clap.
Right. Yeah, we've had a couple comments that people don't believe you're actually a unsuspecting victim. So
Yeah,
this
wow.
is
Like
not
the power of Google.
this is
like
not
a-
this is not helping your
You're
case.
insider.
And because over the years I have been forced to watch many horror movies.
Yeah.
So.
And I believe I believe he didn't have you guys seen Monkey Shines?
Yeah, he did Monkey Shines.
Right? That was
Yeah.
him? Okay.
Yep, that was him.
I need to check that one.
Yes.
That is a future episode for sure because Monkey Shines. He did like Day of the Dead and Monkey Shines
Has to be. I mean,
and Creep Show.
yeah, I was just about to say,
In
Creep
the
Show
80s.
is actually
Yeah.
probably maybe one of my, if not Night of the Living Dead, maybe Creep Show is my other favorite Romero film. It's awesome. I watch it every year. Every time Halloween comes around, it's usually on AMC, and so I end up catching it. It's great every time.
Yeah.
Just Leslie Nielsen as a villain is just awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did Dracula last week, and unfortunately, I was too busy, in a bed with 3 women to get out. So I apologize for that. We're doing Castlevania this week, but bringing up Leslie Nielsen, maybe next week
Yes.
we should do Dracula
Yes.
Dead and Loving It, right? Is that
That's a great
just to
movie.
complete the Dracula trilogy?
I'm just gonna go ahead and say I am a little vampired out.
So good.
You can although to be honest, we could have done Dracula Dead and Loving It. It would have been the exact same film, probably better acted than Bram Stoker's Dracula. To be fair,
You can be wrong as much as you want. That's fine.
I guess I'll just be wrong.
Okay, fine. I like Bram Stoker's Dracula a lot more. Let's just replace Keanu Reeves with Leslie Nielsen and see what happens. How about that? Can we can agree on that one?
Not opposed. Not opposed.
Same hair color. It all works.
It does. It does.
Nate's Dream remake.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, poor Keanu. So anything else y'all want to kind of say with the news? I don't know that I have too many other topics. Like I said, I was pulling up some stuff when the George Romero thing happened. I was kind of, I thought we wanted to dedicate some more time to that.
One other small thing that I saw is I think it's in Vegas or something. They're making a casino machine based on Halloween.
Interesting.
So
Like a slot machine based on it?
yeah, something like one of those weird game ones.
Yeah.
They've done every other franchise, I
Wow.
think, on Earth, but now there's Halloween. So, on Twitter, I was saying, hey, maybe that's what the company from Halloween 3 has been doing this whole time. So
Quite possibly.
Is it going to be John Carpenter's or Rob Zombie's?
it looked like John Carpenter's, but who knows? Yeah, if you have to like pull the thing and then you get like 4 Sherry Moon zombies in a row, I'm probably not going to play that.
Mitch, are you dying to play it?
Oh.
No. I can't even.
You'd be crazy not to.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to be it for this week. On that note, I'm going to call it early. He's big. John Carpenter is actually looking at his Twitter account now. He also sent out a note about George Romero. I think they were, friends and contemporaries, really.
Yeah.
Is there, you talk about these visionary horror movie directors, to me, George A. Romero is top, right? Especially for zombies. You would not have the modern zombie film without him.
Yeah. No Walking Dead, none of that.
Nothing.
For sure. Shambly zombies everywhere.
Yeah. Is there, horror movie wise, is there another kind of visionary director you kind of put up there with him?
It's a little different, but I would say maybe Alfred Hitchcock.
He definitely
it's very different, but it's kind of,
but game changer.
Psycho,
that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Right. And for what he made at the time, those were terrifying. So
Yeah.
Also Syrup Blood, too, in Psycho. So there you go.
Lisa, how about you?
I don't know enough directors.
That's fair.
I mean, to me, George A. Romero sticks out the most. He's the horror movie director to me. I mean, he's just done so many.
No.
So it's not Rob Zombie, is what you're saying.
I'll say I have a special place in my heart for Rob Zombie. Halloween movies are not part of that.
That's the black part of the heart.
Right.
Okay.
I just I want I want to like Rob Zombie movies more than they are.
The part of the heart with the dreadlocks. That's where the Rob Zombie part
right.
goes.
He did Dracula, and for that I'll never.
That music video is probably my favorite thing he's ever done. Probably.
Yeah. I like a lot of his stuff. There's 31 we should totally do a review of because that just recently came out on Shudder.
Yeah.
And then there's also Lords of Salem, which was not very well received.
I think I'm busy those weeks.
Lisa's washing her dreadlocks that week.
Oh my God. Well, with that, then, so for everyone, I would say this week, just in honor of George, pop in one of the classics.
Yeah.
Watch them all if you have the time.
Or just go to a mall.
Or just walk around a mall. If you stumble around a mall, maybe just bang on some windows or something. Yeah. It probably around the Build-A-Bear, maybe, or American Doll Factory is. I think he would have wanted that.
Yeah, Annabelle meets George A. Romero.
Oh, Lord. And with that, we're going to move on to our next segment, our question of the week.
You probably have quite a few opinions, but it's important to remember one thing. You're wrong. Here's why.
So we're going to do something a little different than we usually do. So Nate, since you were unable to join us, I think the question of the week is, what did we get wrong in our review of Bram Stoker's Dracula last week?
Nothing.
The viewers can get ready for a lot of these aren't page turning sound effects. It's my notes flying rapidly.
Let me just share the story real quick. So after so usually what happens with these shows is we record these shows maybe like a day or two. So like right now it's Monday night. We'll release this tomorrow in the afternoon. So we recorded a little earlier on Sunday just because I wanted Nate's opinion while he was overseas. I sent it to him. The next day, I woke up with a text that said, "You wouldn't know a good movie if it dissolved into rats right in front of you."
Yes, that's a direct quote.
So Nate clearly was not a fan of our dissection or review of the film. So Nate, carry on.
Sure. So, oh God, where do I even start here? So I'll just give my overall quick review of the movie. I thought the movie was great. I think everyone agreed the costumes were fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Out of a 10-point scale of rating a movie, I would give 2 points just for Dracula's red armor in the first about 2 minutes of the movie.
That armor was
that was
legit. I think I agree with you.
It could be one of the coolest costumes I think I've ever seen in a movie, almost period. That was great. The women's dresses were great. Monica Bellucci's lack of a dress was great. I mean, they really hit all of the costuming.
Did they just run out of a budget for her? You think, like after all the dialect and accent trainings, they're just like, oh man, we forgot about these couple girls.
We forgot to pay the seamstress because all the dialect coaches ran away.
But that's why only one of them has like the funny looking pants, and that's it.
Yeah. You know what? They ran out of money. It's a fair criticism. The cinematography was very good. The shots were great. It was very gloomy. It was kind of good story-wise that it was London and Transylvania because everything was just a lot of mist, a lot of gothicness. Everything had kind of a gloomy atmosphere. I I guess other than the costume budget and the accent coaches, there was probably a pretty big glove budget in this movie as well. A lot of
Yeah, there were a lot of
gloves.
A lot of glove work. And I wrote in my notes that that you guys totally missed. You guys didn't really get all the glove action that I would have liked. I wrote in my notes Dracula and Mina basically have glove on glove porn on top of an escaped wolf.
Okay, I got that note, and I didn't know how to even like bring that in. Like, I was like, "What?"
Well, I mean,
but there was a lot to process.
There was a lot to process.
To be fair,
that's true. I like the sheer audacity of Francis Ford Coppola in some of these scenes. I mean, some of these scenes were ridiculous, but extremely memorable. And I think maybe I took that as a more positive than you guys did, because I was like, okay, you basically turn into a trench coat of rats. Love it. Like, you have basically a 20-foot long cape with old Dracula with like a prototype man bun and like huge hair and long nails. I'm in. Like, I guess all these scenes I just thought were super iconic.
Is that what you think a man bun is?
It was a prototype man bun. It was like the OG man bun, because it was on the top there was a huge bun, but then the rest of the hair was also huge.
So it wasn't really a bun though. It was like I don't know.
Yeah,
it was almost like
a cross between a man bun and like
pushed up Princess Leia.
That's what I was gonna say. Is a man bun meets Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Which again, more points going to this movie.
All right, so costume, gloves, and hair.
I want to actually. At first I thought Keanu Reeves is doing a terrible job, but then I thought, hold on a second. Keanu Reeves is playing an 1890s stuck-up, prudish company man in England, who's probably very wooden and stiff in real life. I think he nailed it, actually. I think that this could be a tour de force performance from Keanu Reeves.
Because he was being a quintessential British person?
Exactly. Flew right under the radar. He was so wooden. He was so stiff. He typified the type of people for that time.
Yeah.
To me, it felt like
I can't say.
Is it Bill or Ted? Whoever he was, it's like he didn't make it back to the phone booth and decided to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, it's like I got to blend in or else I'm gonna be in trouble.
And like, don't get me wrong, particularly like Matrix on Keanu, I think he's I really enjoy his newer movies, but wow, I just
well, you know that Francis Ford Coppola wanted Johnny Depp for that role.
Yeah, and I feel like Francis Ford Coppola was like, oh, Jesus, all right, just do this, it'll be fine, we'll fix it in post.
I actually read that Keanu did an interview. He was doing a movie right after this. Was it Speed? Something else, and he had to do like his lines like real quick and then get out of there or something like that. So he kind of like phoned it in a little bit.
Yeah, he did come out and say that he was kind of not all there. Not as happy with his performance, and he wished he could have done it over, because I guess he was doing a lot of movies right around that time, and so he was like, I was just exhausted.
I didn't realize Speed was right around that time. Yeah.
And I actually have a question for you, Mitch. Who is better, the wolves in Dracula or the dogs in The Omen?
Better in what regard?
Just in general, your personal preference.
I didn't see the wolf. The only wolf I saw was banging Mina's friend in the cemetery.
That still counts.
Well, there's the other wolf at the picture show.
Yeah, there's that wolf.
The wolf didn't do shit.
There was some background. There was a lot of good background actor wolves.
I'm gonna go with the dogs in The Omen, because they were at least like providing some actual function of guarding the cemetery. Again, well, they were doing an all right job until, it took them a while to hop over that gate.
Okay.
The confusing thing with the wolves in Dracula's, then we were like, or like when he transformed into a wolf, like, is he a vampire or a werewolf? Like, why?
Well, yes. Okay, this is another comment from me. It's because Dracula has power over like the lower, grimier animals. So like rats. Right, rats, bats, wolves, bugs, that kind of thing,
and mist, the lower animal of mist.
Yeah,
he has control over
green mist. That's actually algae. It's algae just floating in the air, or fungus, whatever.
Plankton.
Plankton. He definitely has control over plankton. That's obvious.
He's like a shittier version of Aquaman.
But I didn't get like.
If you think about it, it makes sense.
Aquaman can't create storms.
He can too. He can fucking create typhoons and all that shit. What are you talking about?
How much graveyard action is Aquaman getting? Almost zero.
Well, he can ride on a seahorse. Why would he need to have graveyard action?
You know what?
Well, now that he's Khal Drogo, we
Well,
don't know
what's
going to happen.
Jeez. Okay, so I don't know.
So
man.
I had no problem with the werewolf thing. It's because it's just the creatures. He has the creature powers.
I think where we got lost. I tried to speak to it. I don't think I did a good job. Was the original vampire and Dracula myth is that they can shapeshift to a number of things because that's his coven with with Satan.
Yeah.
Later on, vampires became their own separate entity, and they were just more like a mutagen, like virus.
Yeah, that's why I like this, because he can go out during the day, but his powers are diminished, right? So the night is still there, but he's more of like a normal dude. But then he has this array of powers that makes him way more formidable than like a normal vampire that you just like stab. I mean, it's not like he seems like he's more menacing to me personally. No. Was Gary Oldman scary even when he was like basically a descent creature?
The problem is this movie is just
cool.
too much of a rom horror.
Too much romance for you.
I mean, yeah, because again, the whole point is that he's just because at its essential, it is a romance story. It's him trying to find his wife 400 years, which man, Lisa,
you need to get Mitch on board here. You need to get a copy of Arabian Nights. Okay,
oh my God,
make Mitch read it, and then maybe he can get on board with some of this stuff.
But I don't want to. It's utterly disgusting.
You know what's a really good trivia point? For that book?
What?
It was actually stolen from the set, and they have no idea where it went.
That's awesome.
I know. I said that on the podcast.
Oh, did you? Oh, shit. Well,
wow.
Well, clearly Mitch doesn't have it. We know that. But other than that.
Maybe we look at the person who was arrested for shoplifting a few years later. Winona Ryder?
Oh, no.
Maybe you start there.
Okay, Lisa, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So if you're Mina, okay, clearly there is a weird, bizarre love triangle happening between her, Keanu, and glove-on-glove porn actor Gary Oldman as Dracula. Who would you have chosen if you were Mina? Would you have gone for Keanu, or would you have gone for non-decrepit Oldman? So prime Gary Oldman levels.
Well, Keanu before the white hair?
Keanu before, right. So we're going optimal levels.
I don't think that the white hair makes much of a difference either way, to be honest.
He's more distinguished now.
So it's a white hair Keanu or old ass Gary Oldman.
Neither.
I'd go Gary Oldman. I feel like Gary Oldman had a lot more.
With the big like rat tail?
Look, one of the things that she said is that she was worried Jonathan was concerned that he wasn't good enough for her, I guess because he didn't have enough money. You got Jonathan, who, yes, is working his butt off and goes to this random ass castle in the middle of nowhere. Or you have Dracula, who literally owns like half of London.
Yeah.
And is throwing these lavish parties every night.
But you have like great lines from Keanu, like, oh God, where did I even write it? It is the man himself. Look, he's grown young. Classic lines like that from Keanu. Or, I know now that I am a prisoner. It's like,
yeah, now. You've been there for like a month.
He's like dumb as a box of rocks. Again, just like an 1890s British person would.
No, have I offended you? Yeah, I just.
Whoa, I'm prisoner.
The children of the night. Jesus.
Yeah, Keanu's.
How did you rate this at 8 out of 10?
Because I how many writers were in this movie? I think there was only one writer, and his only job was to write for Keanu's dialogue.
The only writer was the stupid book they based it off of.
No, that book is great. I read that pretty frequently as well. I wrote Budapest is with an SH sound, not Budapest. So that was terrible. They basically did at the end. They basically did like an Amazing Race like graphic where they were showing like the boat racing.
Did you
the
at
train.
least agree with our synopsis of maybe you don't talk about your grand plan in front of the person with the psychic link?
Oh yeah, sure.
Sure.
They learned it. They learned. They learned. It took a little bit. I think Anthony Hopkins' accent was worse than Keanu's accent.
Sir Anthony Hopkins clearly didn't give a shit about this.
No.
At times he is not answering anyone's question.
No.
He is just saying shit.
No.
Like he's just delivering the lines and just imagining that extra pool and the second floor of his new mansion. He is
hamming it up. I wrote down the quote. Mina asks, because of her friend, she's like, "Oh, Lucy, yeah, she's dead, right? Like, how did she die? Was she in pain?" And then he says, "She was in pain." And then we cut off her head, in the middle of were they at dinner? Was that a bar? I don't even know what was happening. Not the best.
Like he's not supposed to be the comic relief, but there was that, and then there's that. We need an exorcist. No, we just need to cut off her head.
The autopsy.
The autopsy. Yeah.
Now I wrote down. So Mina sends the letter to Dracula saying, "Hey, I am gonna marry Keanu." She basically sends him like a breakup text via letter.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be with you. Okay. Then she sends it via text. Okay. Then they go overseas. Somehow she still has the glove from Dracula and she's like face grinding it. Like when they're traveling. I don't know if you guys saw this or not.
Apparently
she was thinking of Dracula and she was just like grinding.
Nate watched a different version of Bram
glove.
Stoker's Dracula than the rest of us.
Jeez.
There was a lot of glove action going on that you guys missed. That's why I think I'm an integral part of the podcast. I catch stuff like that. When Mina and Jonathan Harker get married, no one looks happy. Like during the actual wedding, no one looks happy. And then as soon as they get married and they go back over, through Budapest to catch Dracula, she is like all about Dracula. Like they got married and she does not care.
Yeah.
Like
that was
at all.
Kind of crappy.
At all.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh yeah, cut your torso open real quick so I can drink your blood and become a vampire with you, you sexy green misted bastard." And then,
again, worst school teacher ever. And then honestly, I don't know why they both really are that interested in this one.
What subject does she teach? I can't even think of what subject. It's clearly not literature because she can't even read Arabian Nights. I mean, come on.
To be fair, no one. I don't know anyone who has read it because everyone seemed very shocked by it.
Yeah,
that was in it. I thought that's where they got Aladdin from. So
yeah, I mean, like
I a little bit I feel gypped, but mostly I'm just very confused.
I think that she's just the teacher of the class called Infidelity. That's probably it.
These hoes ain't loyal, man. What can I tell you?
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, oh God, I really like all of the things that Dracula turned into. They're like, hey, we got a practical effects budget, and we are gonna use.
Yeah, they had some money, and we're gonna.
He turned into a Descent bat, basically like the Descent, almost ripped off, like exactly what the Descent creatures look like for that movie from this bat that he was. The rat trench coat, the green mist, the werewolf, which apparently wasn't even him because he was allergic to it. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
He had the face makeup. For looking really old, he had like he was all over the place. He was pretty versatile role. I think Gary Oldman crushed it in this movie for sure.
So let me ask you this then: where do you place Bram Stoker's Dracula in the canon of vampire films?
Oh, it's like almost probably at the very top for me.
Beats out Nosferatu.
The original Nosferatu or like the 1979?
Oh, the
Nosferatu.
Bullshit one with Malkovich.
No. That was the one that Werner Herzog did. The German Nosferatu.
Oh
remake.
Jesus, no,
Okay.
just the original. Yes.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I like it better than that. Just because Nosferatu, which I actually watched with my mom last Christmas, which is interesting. That's a different.
'Tis the season.
That's a different episode. But no, yeah, I mean, it's good. Probably the creepiest. Although I think Gary Oldman's. Old decrepit Oldman rivals Nosferatu in creepiness levels. But I would say Dracula's probably my favorite of all the vampire movies, probably ever.
I mean, Dracula's the vampire. When you think of vampires, it's Dracula first. I think that's the one everyone associates vampires with. I probably
put Christopher Lee's Dracula from 1960 probably my second.
Yeah, that probably to me is certainly above this because I went as Dracula for Halloween for like 10 years straight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I only had one costume and it was Dracula. My mom had like the medallion. She said it was a medallion. Now that I think about it, it was a brooch. I need to have a talk with my mom after this. See what she was dressing
Did you see Ullman's outfits? He could have put a brooch
It's
on.
very
there,
possible I
problem.
was wearing a blouse.
Yeah.
and
a brooch.
And
Very old- again.
basically a blouse and a cape and a brooch.
Oldman-esque. I'm telling you, you're totally crushing it.
Yeah, it was that and Jason one year.
Okay.
That was pretty much. But I think you're right. Christopher Lee is iconic for his Dracula. And there's Bela Lugosi as well. But I don't remember those as well as I probably should.
That's I like.
I remember
like
him more
movies
as
so much.
Frankenstein's monster actually than
Who?
Bela Lugosi.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, and Christopher Lee did the same thing. So he played the Mummy,
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster, and Dracula all in the '60s and the '50s and '60s for the Hammer films from England. So
Lisa, best vampire movie then?
I don't know. I think we may have touched on this in the last podcast. This one was good. It's definitely, a classic. I still think my favorite is Interview with a Vampire.
ooh,
It's a good vampire movie.
I think that one's great.
I don't know if that, and that one's like this one where I get how it could be classified as a horror, although it really doesn't strike me as horror.
I don't think many vampire movies are horror.
I mean,
They're classified as it, but they're never truly terrifying. There's something, and I think that's one of
30
the
Days
things.
a Night would disagree with you.
yeah,
Well,
30
I
Days a
haven't
Night.
seen it,
Oh,
so
yeah.
maybe we
yeah.
need to add it to
30
the
Days a Night.
list.
That's good.
30 Days
That's
a
good.
Night is actually a very good
Yeah.
one.
That's a good one. Wait, you did? Isn't getting a cross to get about 8,000 gallons of blood? Doesn't that not put it in the horror category by default? If you stab a cross and then
No,
it has that
I'm
much
saying
blood?
it is in the horror category, but I think people romanticize vampires more than any other.
Yeah, this is
horror
this is
icon.
definitely one of the
True.
sexier, one of probably the absolute sexiest kind of vampire portrayal. I mean, they really.
Well, yeah, I
The
mean, there's
sexuality in this movie
Interview
was-
with the Vampire is the same way.
Yeah.
they're more that way.
And then Queen of the Damned, I mean, where they make him
How-
pretty much a
Queen
rock
of the
star.
Damned,
Yeah.
How much
Vampire Diaries,
nipple play
Twilight.
was in Interview with the Vampire though?
I don't remember.
Insane. Well,
Only you would remember, Nate.
I remember, look, the first time I remember watching this movie, I got to that scene and my mom walked in.
you're like,
and
no,
then
it's over.
immediately
Yeah.
ejected the tape and walked
nipple
out
biting,
with it.
it's over.
Yeah, blood shooting out of a nipple. Once again, while I'm pretty positive, I'm not a doctor, I'm pretty positive that's not anatomically possible.
I think it is.
How would you know that, Nate?
What
else did you do on your European vacation?
You know what? I saw a lot of guys with man buns. They could have been Dracula.
Oh
Who
my
knows?
god! All right, anything else we want to say about this before we move on to our movie review of the week?
I just to say the last thing that I thought was awesome was when Dracula's dying at the very end of the movie. So he's totally stabbed. He's dying. He's back to old man. And Mina and his mouth's full of blood. And Mina just fucking kisses like right on the face, like hard, like open mouth.
Yeah, that was bad.
She's like, fuck my husband. My husband is gone. Like my husband is here.
Well, Jonathan just gives up. He's like, just let him go.
Let her go. Let her go.
I'm sick of this.
Let's take care of old Tex over here who's
Poor
like dying
Tex.
and bleeding out.
Poor Tex, who's
Yeah.
never in contention
Yeah.
with Lucy. Just
In my notes I wrote,
So sad.
no, Tex.
Is
Exclamation points.
Is Tex the first friend-zoned character in any horror movie?
I mean, chronologically, he's up there for being in the 1890s.
it was him and the doctor.
Yeah, and the doctor.
Wow.
Yeah,
and
but
they just kept coming back.
it was the doctor really in contention. I don't think the doctor.
When he
was
tripped
like-
over himself,
it
no.
was over.
Yeah, that was over.
Tex at least had that big knife.
Yeah, and he said that it'd be like riding a wild stallion. I feel like he was in a much higher position than the doctor was.
Like I think regardless, Tex was always going to be in the running. He's like, I don't need to marry you.
Yeah.
The scenes with her and those three are just so awkward because her fiance's standing right there, and then Tex walks in and she's like, "Oh, hey, Tex, come kiss me." It's like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Hey,
here?
man.
I'm still again.
It's called feminism, Lisa. If you can't get on board with this,
Overall,
go back to the 1880s. Okay.
And overall, I'm still not quite sure why Dracula was going after her. I guess I never really.
Lucy?
Yeah. And also the fact that he was able to compel Lucy, but then he never did. Like he never compelled Mina. He never.
Well, he kind of did. They were chugging absinthe together. He was kind of getting.
Yeah, but he was
drunk.
going like the normal person route versus the I have
That's
multiple
true.
power.
Well, he's like, look, you look like my 400-year-old.
That's just like if you're
wife
trying to
that
get on a
died.
date in 18 something, you would just do the absinthe. That's not like anyone could do that. You don't need to be Dracula to to do that.
Yeah, but he was trying to do it right for the lady he really cared about. For the ladies he doesn't care about, he just becomes a werewolf and bangs them in a graveyard. I mean, that's it.
But if you're trying to get with your wife, why do
that made no
you
sense.
turn her best friend?
And it opens up
Like,
other
there's
questions.
so many random
yeah.
women. Just go for whatever.
No,
Right.
but she had the best outfit, so he went for her.
I mean, she was also promiscuous.
Look at that
Well,
nightgown. Look at that nightgown. He was just attracted to the red of the nightgown. Maybe it had nothing to
I
do
agree.
with it.
You know what? I would have appreciated if they had tied in like Jack the Ripper. All these other prostitutes have been. That would have been kind of interesting.
Jack the Ripper Dracula crossover movie.
I would have actually kind of appreciated that.
That'd have been awesome.
You know?
All right, well, that's the sequel. Bram Stoker's Dracula's.
Yeah, because they're
Jack
all
the
a little
Ripper.
they're all a little too quick to just jump on the. Yeah, no, it's definitely vampire because Anthony Hopkins said it.
Anthony Hopkins has got a whole book called Vampire. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's in the book. It's fine.
My God. All right, I literally cannot talk anymore about this movie.
All right, let's go follow up with
right.
a worse Dracula adaptation.
Oh my God. Well, I guess you already have a sense of one of our reviews is going to be. So for this week, we reviewed Netflix's adaptation of the classic video game series Castlevania.
There is a darkness upon the land. A savior is needed.
Who are you?
The man who'll kill Dracula.
Okay, so Castlevania is a 4-episode TV adaptation. I guess made for TV adaptation from Netflix. It's animated, so very much in the anime style. In this show, it basically centers around Trevor Belmont, one of the last sons of the Belmont clan, who is, I really don't know because this series did not really. Where I complained about Bram Stoker's Dracula being way too long, this was way too short. What in the hell?
I don't know.
Wait, are you still reading the synopsis? No.
Did they intend for the watchers of this to be those who played Castlevania?
Maybe,
because I
because there
never
was a lot
played
of things.
Castlevania.
Yeah.
I played a
But
bunch of other video games.
Here's the
not
problem:
that.
if you played Castlevania, you knew half this shit already.
Well,
So
yeah.
that's why I don't.
So I don't know if it was like to introduce new people to the world in season 1, and then they were going to progress from there.
It seems like it's somewhere in the middle, and I played Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It's probably my only Castlevania, but it was
that's
fantastic.
the
at
third
the
one,
time.
right?
I think
That's the one with Alucard.
yeah,
on
Alucard.
PlayStation.
Yeah, but that's on PS1. Yeah, but oh man, this.
But that wasn't
yeah.
because I thought I read that the first one was a side scroller, but I'm assuming that one
They're all
Symphony
side
of the Night.
They're all
scrollers, actually.
side-scrollers.
Oh, really?
Except
'Cause I thought
there's
one
one
of
on
them was a
N64.
free-
N64 was a free
Yeah.
world one, but for the most part, they're all side
They
scrollers.
had to take everything that was 2D and make it 3D on the 64 with hilarious results usually.
Yeah, and I mean, and the first one I think was Richter Belmont, who was one like the grandfather or something.
Yeah.
But I'll just we'll go through each episode. But I just
Yeah.
it was very short. So Nate, go
Yeah,
with
let me
your
get the
facts.
stats
Let's
real quick.
let's
The facts about this.
the facts of life.
On
with Nate.
IMDb, this is I can't even believe this is so high. An 8.2 with 5,800 reviews as of the time I wrote this down, which seems shockingly high. Let's take 5 points from this and just add it on to the IMDb score of Dracula. Give it like a 12 or something. That would make more sense to
A
me.
lot of that's probably nostalgia.
Or people that actually know the thing, the actual series, and are like hardcore fans.
Yeah.
That could
Yeah,
be
that
it
too. Yeah.
It's a pretty long.
Because
Video
let's
game
be real, the
series.
people who watched it are either running podcasts or writing reviews like we do, or they're Castlevania fans. No normal like
And my
no
mom's-
normal person.
My mom's not scrolling through this.
Well, right.
picking
Yeah,
it up.
yeah, exactly.
That's animated too, so that helps. But no, yeah, and then it's actually an 81% user score on Rotten too, so it's universally pretty well liked somehow. The director is Sam Dietz, which I thought was hilarious. This is his first directing gig, shockingly. The cast is Richard Armitage, who was Thorin in the Hobbit trilogy. One of the other actors is James Callis, who is Gaius Baltar in Battlestar Galactica, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, there were a lot of big names.
And then there was, the Sifa character, the
wizard, the speaker, magician,
the speaker magician, but only for good though. Alejandra Reynoso. She's in the Nickelodeon show Winx Club. Winx with an X at the end.
Did you write down who Dracula was?
Yeah, I think isn't that Richard Armitage, or is that?
No. That's
No, that's Belmont. That's right. No, I don't think I did.
Because the guy who played Dracula is also in The Hobbit.
Oh, nice.
And he's in Outlander, so he's been in a few big things.
Yeah,
I was surprised because I looked at the cast on IMDb. I was like, all these people have been in significant. They're not just no-name people. They've been in stuff.
Yeah. I think they tried to make it
legit,
a pretty high budget, animated.
And now he's
show.
here. It was Graham McTavish.
Yeah,
was his name.
McTavish.
So they gave
sounds
Scottish
very Dracula
accent to it.
Yeah. So
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, just real quick. The show is the show is based on Symphony of the Night and 1989's NES classic Castlevania 3: Dracula's Curse. So it's kind of a combination of a couple of the different setups in these games.
Okay.
Spoiler alert: we're going to mention a character named Alucard. That is actually Dracula spelled backwards. Where's the drop for? Where's the drop for? Dun dun dun. If that drop existed on our board,
I will add that in post.
You know what? The least shocking revelation ever.
Right.
And then I guess this guy is doing an Assassin's Creed animated series after this.
Really?
Yeah. So I hope that one's a lot better.
It's cool because one terrible Fassbender movie is enough for me. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So you did well. If you want to run something in the ground, I feel like you could do a lot worse than this guy.
Sure.
And then I guess there's 4 episodes in this season, and then if they've already pre-ordered an 8 or 10 episode run for season 2. So this was really a short introduction to the universe.
It was a test. Let's just be real. It was a test. Yeah. It had to have been because there's no story to this. There is no conclusion. There's no real plot to it. It's literally just to introduce the characters and just set up what the actual story is going to be. It would
be like if this show was in the Avengers movie. It's like the first 30 minutes of the Avengers.
Right.
Like the Avengers saw each other. Yeah. And then the movie's over.
I think, like I said, I haven't played them, so I don't know. But I feel like it's probably exactly what happened in the video game. You got very little story. You had to walk around, which that was one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. I think it was the second episode when Belmont's literally walking around the village talking to the different villagers like you would have to.
Yeah.
And they do a montage of him silently going from booth to booth.
Talking to all the NPCs.
All the NPCs.
That was fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, some hardcore drunk sleuthing was going on during that time.
Yeah, so let's get it. So episode 1, I've subtitled these episodes on my own. We'll just go into each one. So episode 1,
Witch Bottle.
I was gonna call you done fucked up because that's basically what the whole premise of the show is that had you not just again spoilers as always. I really need to put that spoiler drop at the beginning, but So Dracula meets his wife, future wife, Lisa of no relation.
Yeah,
to Pesh.
Lisa. Well, we'll see. You could be the reincarnated version of this lady. Right? Oh God, the timelines are merging. This actually took place 7 years before the other Dracula movie.
Except it didn't.
Well, if they're in the same universe, this is 7 years before.
Because why would Dracula need to buy a bunch of land in England if he has a traveling castle?
Because his first wife died, then his second wife committed suicide.
Wow, so he only gives a shit about the second wife, huh?
Yep, that's basically it. So this thing, chronologically, it still works according to what I saw.
Oh my God. So Lisa Tepesh, who is a doctor/scientist, wants to bring the power of science to these people.
The power of
science.
And
promptly gets murdered for it. Although, they're sneaky.
No, she had 20 years.
Did it say 20 years?
No.
I totally missed
it. It was 1475. So she had 20 years.
I missed that. And I was just like, So like the next day, it's just
20 years was
20
about
years.
30 seconds in this show. It was so fast. I get why it was confusing. But yeah, she gets summarily murdered. No problem.
Yeah.
After bad garlic jokes. And 1450s Doctor Who like technology in this Dracula castle.
Right.
Yeah, that was the confusing part, is all the machines. I didn't know that vampires had so many machines.
Dracula is Doctor Who without like the ship.
Without the
Well,
phone
yeah,
booth.
they mentioned something about
His
time.
castle is the ship.
Well, they mentioned something about time earlier because, I mean, it's skipping ahead, but so
Skipping ahead for the future.
Well, I mean, but they talk about the prophecy about the hero underneath the castle, but they mentioned that Alucard's only been there for a year,
Yeah.
but that it was in the future, and they mentioned how it had to do with the magician.
No.
It's all a bunch of bullshit.
This
but
makes sense.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't make any damn sense.
So so Dracula is his castle is surrounded by 8,000 million poles of dead skeletons still on the poles. How is the skeleton still on the pole? There's nothing holding the skeleton on the pole.
With his Doctor Who magic, Nate.
That's true. Okay, maybe it was the Doctor Who magic. I don't know. But then this lady comes in. She's like, "Look, I'm just gonna lay it down. I want to be a doctor. Okay, and I heard you have some hidden knowledge for me." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't like humans." And she's like, "You're rude." And he's like, "Okay, I like you." That's it.
Right.
That was the courtship. That was it.
Maybe I could teach you to not be a jerk.
Yeah, maybe I can teach you not to be a jerk. Maybe I can teach you, how to basically make a spaceship, which is what I have, and all these like fantastical machines that don't exist, 600 years later.
Which if you're in this, why do you want to go live out in the hut? Just have people come to the castle, because then no one can come and kidnap you and burn you later.
Well, she has to go out to the people. She's the.
She has a traveling castle. She
She's
can
the
go to any
philanthropist.
people she
He
wants
has to travel like a normal guy because some reasons. Okay, it's very
Because of-
important.
because of reasons.
It's very important that he has to travel slowly so that when his wife is kidnapped by the main villain of the entire show, the church, he can't get there in time because he's traveling the slow human way.
Also, I like how the show really tried to straddle, the church is evil, but like not all. There's like two of them that are okay.
Yeah, there's like a god, but like he's not good, and his people are terrible. But like he's around. Yeah, he's around.
I just,
And there's a hell because that's where Dracula got all of his minions. It was from an actual hell, or did he make them with machines? Who knows?
Who knows? I don't. This whole first episode. Okay. And I mentioned this to you ahead of time. We were even discussing whether to do this because, I don't. It's pretty bad. My problem is when you have a character that is clearly set up to be really the villain in this, and he is. Dracula is set up to really be the villain because that's what they have to go stop him. Yeah, they kind of give him this little sob story, but if you can completely identify with it. It's not like it's a moral gray area.
Yeah.
It's, he's not a normal human. It's not like Breaking Bad where you're sitting here going, well, God, if my family, if I had to give money for my baby daughter, maybe I would sell some drugs.
Yeah.
No, he's a freaking, he's Dracula, and you just murdered his wife.
This show should have been called Episode 1, Rooting for Dracula.
Yeah.
Because you're just rooting for Dracula.
Yeah.
I mean, who are you rooting? Were you rooting for Dracula, Lisa?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No one's like, oh yeah, the church. Maybe it was a little bit. No rationale whatsoever. The church was terrible.
Oh.
They murder his wife, burn her at the stake, and this stake takes a long time to burn. I mean, she's out there for a while. She can give whole monologues. I mean, she can just do
I
whatever
remember
she
asking
wants.
Mitch when we watched the first episode. I'm like, wait a minute, who do you play in the video games? Do you play Dracula trying to kill everybody, or
That would be awesome.
somebody
I would
else?
enjoy that.
I would
version
play
of the
that game.
yeah.
I would play that game.
No, and that's the other thing too. I thought about it because I was like, well, what about the innocents? He gave them a year.
He gave them time.
Yeah.
He's not even like he didn't even like straight up murder everyone. He literally had the
I don't
patience.
know if you caught this in the show, but the church is kind of evil and stupid. I don't know if you caught this or
The
not.
church, but not all the people.
You know what?
I mean, I guess
they follow the
people
church.
are-
They
well,
follow the church, man.
I get it.
They
I
follow the
get
church.
it. I'm just Jesus.
And then she basically pulls the Jesus on the cross, and she says, "Don't hurt them; they don't understand." That's,
God.
she tries.
Yeah.
And then I guess I mean, we don't really see this, but I guess since Dracula is slow traveling, he doesn't see her being burned at the stake.
Yeah, no, he finds out. He doesn't get back till like she's already dead, basically.
Yeah. And then the Alucard, his son, another vampire, Dracula backwards. He apparently did know what she said because at the end of the show, I'm spoiling it, but he says that he doesn't want to hurt people because that's not what his mom would have wanted.
Well, that's just how she was. That's her character, though. I don't necessarily know that she.
Okay, I don't know. Like,
no, because I mean that was
that would be
the whole
kind
point of the character, and I'm sure that since that's his mother, she probably taught him not to hate humans and all that. I didn't catch that.
Now
so.
Dracula isn't too late because his wife the stake is still burning when he, massively teleports, which he should be doing all the time. If I could, Lisa, if you could teleport everywhere, I mean, you're gonna walk like a schmuck.
I know.
Even if your significant other is like, Lisa, I want you to walk slowly everywhere, and you have option to teleport.
Don't take your car
It's
anymore.
on the side. You just throw like a side teleport in. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like, just
yeah,
to go,
you get out of view and
sneak
then
a
you
quick
just
teleport in,
and then you pop over.
No,
Yeah.
hey, honey.
and then you can teleport back to where you were, and then keep walking.
True.
I would have cheated if you would have done that. Then she might be alive.
Plus, he's got all these amazing powers, but he can't sense where she is or what's going on. I mean,
Yeah, especially since he does the beam me up Scotty fire version.
yeah,
to get back home.
yeah.
And then the stake is still burning. So all these people are still there. Like, oh yeah, that was a good burning. Clap, clap. Oh yeah, good job. That was entertaining. Good job, guys. Yeah, that was good. That was a good Thursday. That's awesome. I'll go home. Then he his face is like 7,000 times bigger than usual above, the burning ashes of where his wife, the fire's still going on the whole pyre area. And then, Dracula's not one for taking the body and taking it to a sacred place and burying it. He just explodes with fire the entire area where his wife just got burned.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? She's gone. The remains, whatever. I'm just gonna throw a massive fireball onto it with my face being about 50 feet tall.
Right.
That's my whole strategy.
Which, again, if you can do that, do you really need an army from hell? Can't you just
you just
straight up murder everyone right there?
You sit with your face right there, and then you just watch everyone have... Because then, after that, he's like, you have a year. And then just to let you know that I can do things, I'm just going to throw comets at you.
Right.
He just throws comets. There's just comets coming out of the sky.
So did they... So here's where I was confused. They got past a year, not by long, by like a few days.
Well, they were the church was like, oh, that was the devil made illusions.
Right.
For us.
But he did not attack on the anniversary.
No, it was like a little bit after.
Did he? But what I'm wondering is, did he forgive them? Like, did Alucard bring him around? He forgave them.
No, he slashed.
But then, well, hold on.
Yeah.
On that year, he was like, oh, okay, well, maybe they've repented. But then 3 days later, of course, when they're like, hey, we killed the witch, then he's like, oh, no, screw you.
I don't think so. I think he said, I need, and Mitch, you're totally right. He can make himself like 100 feet tall, throw fireballs and comets, no problem. But he needs a year to make an army? I don't get it.
Well, and I didn't understand why they could only attack at night. Like, they were just prowling outside the walls during the day.
It's because, not unlike Bram Stoker's Dracula, these are night grimy creatures that can only attack.
So attack with fire during the day.
Sure.
And then the creatures at night.
Because he was walking around during the day, no problem.
Well, and he can clearly control clouds and stuff. Just maybe block out the sun. I don't know. I don't understand how it works.
Yeah, this is not great logic by Dracula here. So he has to take a whole year, and then he slashes his son.
Yes,
almost to death.
Cuts him down. Fat Pope shows up, which again, just to show up, just to show the church's excess. And basically he rains down hellfire on him.
Well, first of all, there's blood rain. Love that. Love the blood rain. Fire tornadoes. I wrote down everything that was happening. Explosions. Teleporting castles.
Mm-hmm.
Bat creatures. And this is one of my favorite parts about the entire show. Excessive child murder. There's so many kids.
Oh yeah,
destroyed in that first attack scene.
They straight up just murdered everyone.
I mean, kids are just getting pulled in half, like in the background, like just everywhere.
One woman just got set on fire by a demon in one episode. I was
and then her kid right after her, and then that kid got pulled in half.
See, but that makes no sense
It's
because
crazy.
wasn't the first attack during the day? I feel
No,
like
I think it was as it
during
was
the
getting dark,
celebration.
and I think it was right as it was getting
At
dark.
sunset?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
again, terrible time for the church to decide to let's do it
Like,
right
they're-
at dusk.
they're pompous/pious assholes. In this
so-
show for sure.
So okay. So episode 2, we can. I really have very little to say about it. I literally titled this "Much Ado About Nothing."
Well, hold on.
Well-
You missed the classic goat fucking story at the very end of episode 1.
No, you know what?
my
Actually,
God.
you're right, and that was the bright spot of this whole show.
It might have been the funniest part of the entire
that
episode.
was the most elaborate
He's like,
story.
It was. They put a lot of effort. These episodes are only about 23,
25,
25 minutes
yeah.
long. And
This made the cut.
that made the cut.
And the guy walked in. The
He's
guy
like-
they were talking about walked in at the last minute.
He's like, you know what? This guy's fucking the goat. And I hit him over the face with a shovel. He goes blind. Well, he might have gone blind anyway because that goat had mange. You know what? Why do I gotta pay money for this guy?
I did like when he was like, I want another ale for me and my cousin. I'm your brother. No, you came out of my aunt. You're my cousin.
Yeah, this guy's got a lot of opinions, and that's a
Don't
great.
let me get my shovel.
That's a great segue into episode 2, Necropolis.
Which again, Much Ado About Nothing. Which,
The first 5 minutes,
This
is
whole
just
show
this
is about
one
that.
guy, the goat fucking story guy. He's just talking about how he hates the Belmonts, and you're like, look, there's a Belmont guy in the back. This is so obvious. It's clear what's happening in just 5 minutes.
Right.
Like a fifth of one episode. It's one guy just railing on one family, saying the same thing 7-8 times.
Yep.
In a row. Yeah.
I got really nothing for this episode. It was
The whole episode? Oh shit.
It's just
I got
bad.
nothing for that.
Look, I can summarize the whole thing in like 3 sentences.
Yeah.
Bar fight with Belmont.
Yes.
Then
Terrible-
talk to NPCs.
Yes. Talk to NPCs.
What the hell are speakers?
with the-
That is basically my notes because that is all I got from this episode.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote down this could be the worst Game of Thrones cosplay of all time.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
you don't know
It
about
was-
Trevor Belmont.
It was bad. I mean,
It did have one of my favorite lines of the whole series, though.
oh, there's some good.
When he tries to get into the city and it's all walled off, and he's like, "There's no way they walled it off just to deny me breakfast."
I mean, but you said good quote, right? I have a couple of quotes I wrote down when they're in the bar fight. He says, "Would you please leave my testicles alone?"
Oh yeah, that was a good
That's
one.
a good one. And then later on, he says, "I mean, I really, really don't like priests," which is after he cuts off a priest guy's finger.
and
that was good.
whips that other guy's eye out of his face.
Yeah. And I said during when he was talking to all the NPCs, I said that was Belmont. He was doing a trial run for his person on the street interview series that he's going to be doing.
Oh my god. So yeah. So
And more baby murder. I mean, there's more baby murder in this episode.
he does whip a guy's eye out, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, he ripped a guy's eye. There was really big bursts of excessive violence
Right.
in this show. It was.
And a lot of snarky one-liners, like what if we had Daredevil as a vampire hunter? That was basically what I kind of felt like the show
Yeah.
was trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, and then the speakers come in. The speakers are the ancient oral tradition magician,
I don't know. What
wise
they're
old
supposed to
say. They're like, what is what's
They're supposed
what's
to be like
what's the-
chroniclers or
no?
what-
Who are the guys in Game of Thrones?
the Maesters.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Maesters,
They're the Maesters.
I really, I'll just go ahead and tell you, you'll find out my review right now. I would rather be talking about Game of Thrones right now than
Yeah.
I would be about this stupid show.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Maester ripoffs. Not great. I wrote down. Okay, so they talk with the speakers. So you've seen Transylvania. You've seen the city that gets destroyed by Dracula. You've seen the bishops. You've seen the church people. You've seen the townspeople in this town. You've seen the speakers. How many accents are in this show?
Yeah, they couldn't quite get it.
I mean, there was more accents in this show than
In Dracula.
They had
than Anthony
a-
Hopkins tried to do as Van Helsing in Dracula. I mean, it was so many.
They had a
accents.
much larger accent budget than Dracula did.
Or they were just like, let's not even try to make this even close to sounding the same. Like this, you're from Spain, you're from France, you're from England.
I think it was just their natural speaking voices.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't even
Yeah.
try. They didn't even. At least Keanu tried. Okay,
Keanu
give him
did
that.
try.
He tried. Not well, but he tried. The And they get to hear stories. I wrote down just what next to this. They hear stories from the future. I get that Dracula has these machines and he's maybe has lots of powers. How do you hear future stories? How does that even?
A lot of LSD.
Okay, so this is like a drug thing.
It has to be, right? I mean, that's why the church hates them, I would assume. Because they're witches.
So like Jeff Sessions is part of this church, and he's like, you know what? None of that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I got it now. Okay.
Nice. Yes. Okay. So episode 3 then.
Well, hold on. I have one more thing.
How?
You're so close.
How?
Nate, I thought
so
you
close.
didn't like this
Yeah.
series.
For everyone else, Nate's like, oh, let's just do a short review of this.
But I just gotta say, I loved how at the very end of the episode. This is my last line about this episode. The grand speaker, the grand sparrow of speakers. It's like
The High Sparrow.
whatever.
If you're gonna make your stupid references, you gotta make sure.
This show was terrible. He's like, you know what? We need to stay in town for the people. And then the Belmont guy figures out, oh no, it's just your granddaughter. He's like, well, yeah. Like,
yeah.
well, yeah, I'm a
And
dick.
And not even
Well,
that, just her body, because he's pretty sure that
She's
his
dead.
grandchild is dead. Yeah.
So unlike Dracula, he's like, you know what? She's dead. Dracula's like, I'm
Right?
just gonna explode this and kill people. And he's like, no, I gotta go get the body.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even because of the body, it's because they wanted him as the fighter to go down to find the soldier. So really, it was 2 bullshit excuses
Ooh, that was
for him to be a
tricky.
total dick. Oh, I need okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's not bad actually.
Well, there you go.
Nate's coming around.
All right. No.
So episode 3.
Labyrinth.
Sorry. Yeah. So Trevor Belmont goes down and fights a Cyclops. Because
No, a Cyclops that turns you to stone.
Well, yeah, it's a Medusa
Yeah.
Cyclops.
It's a Medusa
because
Cyclops.
That's how the
that
myth
means.
is. Yeah, it's
whatever
fine.
that means.
Got
Sure.
one big guy that turns you to stone.
Yeah.
He kills it. I mean, again, and let's give it some credit. The action scenes are actually pretty cool. They're very well drawn.
Yeah.
Very well. I mean, it's good production, particularly
Yeah.
for an anime. So
They're
I
good
want to
boss
give
fights.
it. Right.
So you guys have seen Mitch, you've played, I think Lisa, you've seen the God of War games, right?
Uh-huh.
They basically rip off God of War because they have Cyclops, they have Medusas, and then Alucard. I'm skipping ahead back because I don't give a shit. Alucard has a giant red scar across his body, and he's super pale. Is this basically just a God of War ripoff?
No, but yes.
Because he's a reluctant hero who people have to like get into.
No,
that.
I mean that's kind of how
Castlevania
this.
came
And he has to kill his father. Oh my God, this is basically God of War.
But Castlevania came first, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just saying but I
So
mean,
maybe it's the other way.
did Alucard have the white thing with the red thing?
Well, I mean,
and the Medusa
how
Cyclops
many
was-
how many
I don't
old
know.
Greek mythology has to do with someone killing someone's father?
Well, how does Greek mythology have anything to do with Dracula in the 1400s?
Don't worry about that. it's all from the same cradle civilization or something. I'm sure.
Sure, whatever that.
That's
means.
what you're worried about instead of the stupid time traveling castle.
The part that's even more hilarious is that this episode's called Labyrinth. But basically, the labyrinth is just hey, have explosions
and
make it
this
go
is-
down really far.
I never thought I'd find something that made me hate or like the original Labyrinth more than this.
The original Labyrinth crushes this.
Yeah. David Bowie. Right. Anyway.
No one
so
can see that, but Mitch just like kissed his lips real weird.
I didn't kiss my lips. real
Whatever.
All right. So that was the biggie. You know. See ya later.
The good quotes from this are, I could pee in a bucket and tell him it's beer because the Belmont guy just tries to drink the whole time.
I wish they wouldn't dress girls
and-
up as boys.
And so so
Yep.
then Belmont is abducted by the
Which
church.
definitely sounds rapey. Out of context.
Yeah.
Belmont. I'm just kidding. Belmont gets abducted by the church. He talks with the bishop, who's clearly insane. He calls him snake fucking crazy, which could be one of my favorite lines of all time now.
Yeah.
Snake. Excuse me, Mitch. Right now you're acting snake fucking crazy. Whatever that
It
means.
sounds like this is a 10 out of 10 for you.
It-
It sounds like it's
that
moving up
quote
the,
is a 10 out of
up
10.
the scale.
And then right after that quote, I wrote all talking and nothing happening. I wrote it for 3 lines in a row.
Well, that's just how this show worked out. Yeah. Lisa, I mean, this third episode,
Man,
I don't even. anything stick out for you on this one?
I'm trying to remember where it ends. Like what? How does this one end? Do y'all remember?
It ends with the priest coming after him.
He's escaping, and there's
Yeah.
actually one cool scene where he threw a spear into
into an archer, and the archer, shot
the other archer,
which was convenient.
That was actually really cool. I like that.
Let me ask you this: maybe I didn't see this right, because I feel like there are periods where I just kind of blinked and then I opened my eyes and something, and we were just somewhere else, and it was like I just accepted it. Okay. He goes out of the house, and that's where all the other priests are.
Yeah,
and that he just left the house with the speakers.
No, he sent the speakers to go down where.
No,
the
this is before.
died.
This is before this. He moved them to the Cyclops. This is when they take him to meet the head priest, but they hadn't come back, because remember, he comes back to that same house and says, "Yeah, well, you're all gonna die."
Yeah.
Yeah, because he tells them what
Yeah,
the
he
plan.
tells
So why didn't the priests
just
who are
go
looking
get
for
him
the
right
speakers
then.
just
Yeah,
kill
get him
him then?
I don't know.
These guys are stupid and evil, and they're stupid. If you haven't noticed, can we just? I just said same dialogue over and over about Belmont family. Speakers get Belmont to fight in a worse version of the Bill Pullman speech from Independence Day. That's it. That's the rest of my notes in this episode.
That's fair.
All right, episode 4.
Episode 4,
Monument.
or as I titled it, what the hell is the point?
The point is that there's a guy at the end. That's the
Yeah.
point. That's the
So basically, this whole the 4 episodes really runs you down to meet Dracula's son, Alucard.
Alucard.
There's a final showdown where Trevor and Alucard fight.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's a pretty good fight. It's a cool
It's a
fight
great
scene.
fight.
There's
Yeah.
some magic in there from the Sifa character.
Yeah. And look, Alucard's a cool character, but basically, look, if you liked Final Fantasy VII, then you're gonna like Alucard because he's fucking Sephiroth.
Yeah.
That is
Basically.
That's basically what he is.
I guess I didn't think about this, but so Dracul means dragon, right? And Dracula basically means son of Dracul, right? The A at the end means son of. So if you Dracul,
So was that an actual question, or were you?
hold on, I'm getting there. I don't know if it's more of a statement.
Okay.
But if Dracul was the first one, and then Dracula is the son of Dracul, then what is Alucard, the backwards of the son of Dracul?
To be fair, his name is actually Adrian, but he just is called Alucard.
Boo.
So-
Okay, well, there goes my whole elaborate thing.
Before you think they actually thought
No,
it had some forethought
never
on
mind.
something in the
Okay.
show, I want to dash that real quick.
Let me just roll real quick right into God is not here. This is an empty box. That was a pretty good quote from this.
I like that.
Lisa,
I did enjoy that entire scene with the head demon just like slowly walking
Yeah.
up and like telling the priest, your God doesn't love us and all this stuff.
He
And
doesn't
he
love
doesn't
you
even
either.
love you
Yeah.
because you're the one that screwed this all up. And yeah, that scene where he like slowly kills him. Oh, that
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
yeah,
that's-
I wrote down.
that was the worst
Who-
worst death. to me.
Who is this talking wolf thing? He seems to know God a lot. Subtitle on Bishop Death. Slurping continues 3 times. The slurping continues 3 times.
I feel like the captions made it worse than anything.
The captions were awesome in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's firewalls. There's ice walls.
Yeah.
There's...
Which
Jesus.
that was like.
I'm magic. Oh, maybe you could have mentioned that earlier. No, I'm magic. Don't worry about it.
Did you try and use that earlier to save people?
No. And then apparently salt kills demons. That's a direct quote. I don't know what that. The salt kills demons. Yep.
I mean, that I didn't have as much problem with. I mean, if you watch Supernatural, it's fine.
Salt? What?
Yeah. Well, do you not watch
Listen,
Supernatural?
Even in Bram Stoker's
Well.
Dracula, he makes the protective ring around.
Yeah, with salt. Salt's usually
Yeah.
used to ward off
And
demons.
there was fire though. I mean, there's a fire.
I think
ring,
he
too.
did both. It was salt and fire.
But doesn't salt
Cover
put
all
out
your
fires?
bases.
Though?
No, I don't know, but there's been a lot of horror
okay.
things where they've
Yeah,
used salt as a
salt's a
protective
pretty
ring.
common trope.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's part of the whole why when you spill salt, you're throwing it
It
behind
makes total sense. I mean, I'm sure Lisa, the scientist, would be all over the salt.
Come on.
kills
Well,
demons.
yeah,
I mean,
I know
that's how they
that's
do.
obvious.
That's common knowledge in Lupu.
I apologize.
In Lupu, I feel like someone
Lupu.
just hit a keyboard and said, "That's here's."
I like how Belmont is getting attacked by a whole crowd. He's like, "Hey, everyone, stop attacking me! I just want to fight this one guy." They're like, "Yeah, sure. Well, just go fight this one guy. That's great."
And then they all shank him. But then
And
luckily
then
he found.
he makes maybe a 30-second speech, and then they all stab the priest guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was awesome.
And then I did like that they were able to find one priest who could do holy water. So not all the priests are bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
one of them's good.
God doesn't exist. The priests are terrible. They're using their political power often. But I need some holy water right now. So let's switch this a little bit. Let's see what happens.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and he says,
And you're telling me that in the entire nation, there's not a single person who can assemble an army? Because he just gets there and he's like, all right, ordinary citizens with spears, you're going to sit here. I'm going to put my mage here. Got my holy water, got my salt, done.
It's
And
very-
they like take out all the
very
demons.
Braveheart-esque. Like he just like got some
Yes.
farmers in a field. Like, hey, let's please, spike. He says, my whip is consecrated for fighting vampires and demons. So he's got that going for him. I don't know how long consecration lasts on a whip, but apparently it's got a good shelf
Especially
life.
when you're
Especially-
excommunicated.
Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, shit.
But he still has the protection.
God, I was trying hard. I can't. I'm trying to be
I did
optimistic.
like how the priest was like, look, just handle this and we'll talk about your excommunication. He's like, I don't care.
Actually, yeah, he's like, it comes from a little higher up than you.
and then Mr. Slurping Wolf Demon guy comes in, and he apparently killing a wolf demon makes him explode into a giant bomb. I don't know how the logic of that either. I'm sure Lisa, as our resident scientist,
I like
for
how
this
the
episode.
giant head demon though was talking to them and just basically berating them. Oh, there's more of us. We're all coming. Blah blah blah. And he's like, just shut up. And he cut his head in half. That was funny.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, and then I mean, there's all this. So then we'll go to the end, I guess. But there's the labyrinth is just like going down 1,000 levels in this city.
Yeah.
Is Alucard just a really bad builder? Because
no.
they just kept falling.
Just
It's
no one
not really
here-
a labyrinth. You just fall through the holes and you
that's what
end
I'm
up where
saying.
you're supposed to go.
David Bowie would never have stood for this.
No.
He would have made sure that there was some shady dealings going on with how to get out of this labyrinth.
God.
But I mean, like, there's all this machinery under like the city. No one hears it. I mean, obviously, these machines are like 1,000 feet tall or something, and they don't hear it. And I mean, they magically find him. I said his body looks like a skinny Kratos, but not only that. Alucard wakes up and he's like, "Oh, by the way, my sword is longer than my entire body. It's like an 8-foot sword."
That sword was awesome.
But that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Also,
I
if you can
enjoyed
make
the
it
sword.
move on its own, why don't you just have it like attack for you?
Well, I guess he's like, I just want to toy with this guy and see how good. So, I'll fight you normal, and then once you hit me 3 times, like in the video game, then I'll start teleporting. And exactly like the video game. Then he starts teleporting, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is
I
absolutely
did like how
ridiculous.
he had hydraulics underneath his coffin. Did y'all notice that?
I did like the hydraulics.
Yeah, I mean, well, he has an underground thing with, giant, like he's got electricity underground with where the Cyclops was.
Well, again, he's from
got-
the future and the past all together. I did enjoy. I will say I did find it funny when he tried to knee him in the dick and he said, "Let's keep it civil." Like didn't flinch.
This isn't a bar fight.
Yeah, this
hey.
isn't a bar fight. That's right.
Yeah. You were getting your testicles in the bar fight earlier. We're not having it down here in the bottom of the labyrinth,
no.
which is
It's a
not
nice little
labyrinth.
throwback
It's
there.
a civilized
Yeah.
fight.
And he says something like, Sifa is like, oh yeah, this could be the soldier guy. And he says, tell that to your floating vampire Jesus then. These quotes are so edgy. It's ridiculous. And he also says, stand the fuck up when he goes down.
Yeah, stand the fuck. I
Stand
did
the
like
fuck up.
Man, these.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
But then they're bros at the end. It's like,
that's
oh
all
yeah,
good.
that was a good fight. We should go fight Dracula together. I just been sleeping for a year because I look like Kratos now, and he hurt me. And now let's go make a real season of this show, the next season.
right. Let's see how the reviews are. I have no words. I don't know where to go with this. I'm not watching season 2.
I just wrote, no one in Hungary sounds like this.
What are you about to say, Lisa?
I'll watch it.
You'll watch
Go
season
watch
2
it again.
Yeah.
What is happening?
All right.
Good. I mean, I thought it was. Well, I'll save it for.
Yeah. Okay. All right. With that said, let's get into what you would have done differently.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Lisa, what would you have done differently?
Okay. So as soon as the giant fiery ball face in the sky says you have a year to go, that's when I
leave.
go home and pack and leave.
Okay.
Right? I don't understand these.
I don't understand the point.
And it's a slow human way of that they have to travel
Yeah.
too. So you're giving yourself some.
He gave him
some
a whole
head
year.
start.
He's like, I know you guys are slow. Just walk. It'll take you a while, but a year should be plenty of time.
I mean, look. I feel like if you're that religious that you're burning someone as a witch, you should be pretty superstitious of a head. I mean, you're not Michael Scott here. You know what I mean?
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
You clearly,
God.
if you're burning witches, then if you see a big flaming head telling you have a year, yeah, guess what? I'm getting the F out.
You know what? I might not even leave on the burning head. I leave when the comets start coming. When the comets are going,
But by then,
it's
I
over.
feel like it's too late.
Because there was the comments the initial time.
Oh,
that broke the church windows. Remember,
Yeah.
all that
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Once comments are happening, I'm out. Comments. That's. I mean, and I Michael Scott might be a little stitious, but I'm pretty sure 1450s humans
right, exactly.
pretty superstitious.
Also,
comments trump little bishop guys talking or whatever.
Agreed.
And maybe I missed this, or maybe they just didn't mention it. Who knows? But did the speakers, were they looking for this, sacred soldier or whatever for the entire year? Or was it like, oh, he's come back, now we should probably start looking for this guy?
Who knows?
Yes.
Well, someone was looking for him, but then they couldn't write anything down to tell the next person, so then it took
Right?
them even longer. Who knows?
That's the reason why paper and pen is
These people,
the...
how long was she frozen? Who knows down there? If she could have been frozen for a year, they were looking. I mean, who even knows?
Nate, what do you do differently?
I would not watch the show, but other than that, I would. Mine is easy. Not listen to the church. Done.
Yeah.
It's a motto that it basically works in every horror
I
movie.
feel like
Almost
it's a
every.
reoccurring thing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, show me where it hasn't worked in any of these movies.
To me, again, if you're the priest,
Yeah.
you're right there by the speakers. Maybe check the house before you escort Trevor Belmont.
Assassinate more efficiently.
Right. Hey, well, they're all done, so we're good. Okay, so awards. Worst everything goes to this show.
Not everything. The fight scenes. Not worst fight scenes.
I'll do that. Let me go. I'll do best fight scene goes to Alucard and Trevor. I thought that was good.
That one was good. And Sifa. She came in too with a little magic action.
Not really, but sure.
It's very, very, very.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
You mean when they stopped cutting into no guys stop when they did 4 times the same clip to save money. Nate,
I got least grateful rescuer or rescuee. Sorry, was Sifa because she's literally frozen as rock from a cyclops, just sitting there. She gets rescued, and he's like, "You're rude." Fuck you. I just totally rescued you, and I don't even care, and I still rescued you, which makes it even more of an accomplishment.
Yep.
She was just terrible. Not a fan.
Agreed.
I got a best John Wick impression by Dracula.
Ooh.
You lose your wife and you just
Absolutely.
lose it.
Absolutely. Best manners.
Did they also put his dog in the stick?
Hey, you don't know. Maybe.
I'll say, runner up reward. Best manners go to Lisa of Lupu.
Yeah.
She asked if it was rude.
Also gets the Crispy Award.
That's Wah, wah, wah. All right, and so that brings us to our final segment.
Final cut.
I'll lead this one off. I would give this 4 out of 10 shovels to the face. I'm torn.
What this did?
I'm torn. It's 4 out of 10 for my rating. I would take more shovels to the face and watch this show again. Lisa.
I give it 5 out of 10 consecrated whips.
Nice.
I did think it was a pretty accurate adaptation of a video game. I mean, it's you got the progression of the storyline, the boss fights, and all that stuff. So
yeah,
and it's a video game from 1989, and then early 90s. I mean, the story is what it is, but if you're coming into it blind, I mean, this is not great at all.
Yeah,
I would give it a 3 out of 10 snake fucking crazies. And then I would also say the sequel to this should be Castlevania Season 2, an actual story.
Agreed. Okay, well, that is it for this week's episode of Texas Podcast Massacre. Nate, where can they find us?
Sure, they can find us on Twitter at TXPodMassacre. They can find our newly redesigned website at TexasPodMassacre.com.
Texas Podcast Massacre.
Texas Podcast, God, every time. TexasPodcastMassacre.com. We're on Google Play. We're going to be on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and a lot of other outlets pretty shortly.
That's right. All right. From all of us here, thank you so much for listening in, and tune in next week. Bye.
Mina walked up and she caught me claw-handed, vamping on Lucy's throat. Picture this, we were both buck naked, banging on a gravestone. How could I forget we were macking so obviously all the time? Mina was standing there braless with her eyes watching me. You caught me biting in the graveyard.
It wasn't me.
I was literally a werewolf.
It wasn't me.
I turned your best friend immortal.
It wasn't me.
But then I say, hey, don't see me.
It was me.
Shaggy Wolf.